welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, glad to have you. Today I'll be testing out the new Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts, please keep on watching. So Urban Decay recently released a foundation, which is the Face Bond Foundation. Now this is supposed to be a waterproof, transfer resistant formula. It also contains some skincare in it and it's self-setting. You don't need to use a powder after wearing this foundation because it sets itself. So we're going to test this out today. Finding my shade online Sephora was a bit difficult because for my category there were a lot of shades that lean orange, so it was a bit difficult. I didn't use the Sephora shade finder to find my shade because it never matches me to the right shade. Now the shades I was looking at online are the shades 30 and 31. This is the model for 30 that wears 30. So I don't know, it seems when you look at her jaw area, I don't know if they used the bronzer. I don't think they did. I think it's just only the foundation. It looks a bit orange. And then the shade 31 looks like this on the model. I don't know, it seemed a bit dark to me. And it's supposed to be a medium deep with warm golden undertones. Now this one is deep warm. I mean, I was going to go for this, but I just thought at the end of the day it might look dark on me. Now when I looked at shade 29, it's described as a medium deep neutral shade, and this is the model. If you look at the shade, it looks ashy on the skin. It doesn't look to match the side of the skin that doesn't have any product on it. So this is still very confusing. I was thinking, would the neutral shade be too ashy on me? But at the end of the day I decided to go with 29 since it's described as a deep, medium deep neutral, and just hope for the best that it will match me. I like this design. It looks very unique, very beautiful design, and sleek too. This is what the dropper looks like. I guess it's built so just a precise amount of product would come out, so you won't have to waste your foundation. Before we go on to try on the foundation, I'll read the details on Sephora's website. This comes in 40 shades and it contains 1.0 fluid ounce. It is a lightweight waterproof foundation with the skincare benefits of a serum and a self-setting powder for blurring effect in a medium coverage matte finish. It has a natural matte finish and lightweight, can't feel comfortable wear, and it's formulated with 3% niacinamide. It has been clinically tested to improve skin's texture feel after 4 weeks of use. No powder needed, formulated with self-setting powder to absorb sweat and oil. It has an instant skin blurring effect. It's non-comedogenic, it's non-acnegenic, it's waterproof, humidity proof and sweat proof, smudge and transfer resistant. It has an up to 24-hour wear. There are shades for olive skin tones featuring chromium oxide green pigment. It has a precision dropper which provides for a no mess and precise application. Off camera I used my It Confidence in the Cream Moisturizer to moisturize my face. Now I'm going to go in with the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Primer, which is a makeup gripping base and pore refiner and hydrator. For instructions on how to use the product, make sure skin is properly moisturized and give any skincare products enough time to absorb into the skin before foundation application. For more natural skin-like finish, use a sponge. To build more full coverage, use a brush. For max coverage, use your fingers. Today I'm not going to use my fingers. I'll use a brush for one side of my face and a sponge for the other side. This is what the foundation looks like. It is thick, as you can see, not runny. I think I used a lot of product. Should have started with a little. Doesn't seem to have a smell. Doesn't smell anything. Okay, not a bad shade match for me at all. I think I like the shade match. Now the foundation is setting itself already. I can see it clearly. It has been able to even some part of my skin, but I have to go in with some foundation around this area. You can see I didn't go in with a lot here. I'll just keep adding some more foundation. It's a very beautiful formula, and I can tell it feels very comfortable on the skin too. I was expecting it to be a gripping matte formula, but I don't feel anything on my skin. It feels very lightweight. It has blurred my complexion so nicely. So I think I'm fine with this coverage, as you can see. Nothing here, but I'm tempted to go in with a little bit more, so I'll just go in with just a little bit more. As you are applying the foundation, you would notice it just gets matte and sets itself almost immediately. As you can see, it looks like I applied powder, but I did not. Like I said, the formula has powder properties that makes it set itself. It doesn't look like I need to set it at all, which is very impressive. And it feels matte on the skin, but it feels comfortable as well. I don't feel any gripping or tightness. It's just sitting matte on my skin. That's all it's doing. So I'm very happy, and it looks flawless. It was able to even out my skin tone nicely and blur this part of my face, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the foundation with a sponge on this other side. Now this sponge is not doing justice to the product, because when I used my hand, I was able to blend it out properly. See, even on my forehead it's doing the same thing. Okay, so I think I'm just going to discard the sponge. It's not moving the product around evenly, so I'll be using another sponge. Let's see if this is going to be better. Okay, so I am done applying the foundation on both sides of my face. A brush for this side and a sponge for this other side. I struggled a little bit with using a sponge. The first sponge was just moving the product around. It didn't really blend it out evenly or smoothly. It was just moving it around. But I noticed that when I used my fingers, it was able to give me a more even look. I went to get another sponge to use, thinking the problem was with that sponge. But I noticed that the second sponge did not help either. In my opinion, I advise you use a brush or your fingers for this foundation, because the first sponge I use is the Shop Miss A sponge, which is $1. The second one I used is the Beauty Blender, which is $20. Neither of both sponges worked for me, so I feel the problem is with the applicator, which is a sponge, not the foundation. So I mean, if it works for you, good, but I advise you use a brush or your fingers, you know, to get an even and smooth application. Now it doesn't feel gripping, but it feels more like a soft matte product on the skin. I can feel it's matte, but it's not uncomfortably matte that I want to take it off. I also like that it looks flawless on the skin, and you don't need a lot of product. It reminds me of the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. Now we have established the fact that it's self-setting and the foundation doesn't seem to oxidize. It's just sitting on my skin. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a transfer test, because I've had this for about 15 minutes or more on my skin. I'm going to be using a tissue paper. As you can see, barely any product on the tissue. So we have established that it is transfer resistant, and I am very grateful for that. I'm going to continue with the rest of my makeup. This is a final look with the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation and the rest of my complexion products. Remember, I applied the foundation with a brush on the side of my face and with a sponge on this other side. Now I didn't use an all over face setting powder because the foundation already claims to have a self-setting technology. I only used a setting powder on the areas where I applied a concealer, which is under my eyes, my eye area, my nose, my forehead, and my chin. For the rest of my face, I did not use a setting powder. All I applied was my bronzer and blush, and then my eye product and my lip product. I didn't use a highlighter, I didn't use a setting spray either for my face. I like that most of the claims about the foundation are true. I like that it gives my skin a very flawless look. The coverage is medium to buildable. You can build up to full coverage. Now with this product, a little goes a long way. I mean, you might think, oh, because it's a thin, it has a thin consistency. Sorry about that. You might think, oh, because it has a thin consistency, you need to add more product. That's not the case with this product. A little goes a long way, trust me. I like that it has the ability to improve my skin texture in a few weeks. Now we're gonna do a wear test to see how long the foundation would hold up. The time now is 12:20 p.m. I'm gonna go about my day for a little while and come right back, show you how it looks, and give you my final thoughts. Please don't go anywhere. While I was drinking water, I mistakenly ran down my chin and lifted off the product. Now the product is supposed to be waterproof, so I don't know why that happened, because I didn't expect the product to be lifted off my skin, but I just wanted to show you guys this. I'll go ahead and fix it with foundation now. I am done with my wear test. The time now is 7:35 p.m. so it's been, I think, a little bit over 6 hours or 6 hours since I started my wear test. I'm going to zoom you guys a little bit. So as you can see, I do have just a minimal amount of oils around my T-zone area. I always have more oils on my nose than the rest of my T-zone area. On the sides of my nose, it just looks like the oil is beginning to come in. Remember, I did not set my entire face with powder because the foundation, like we were told, is a self-setting formula. I only set the areas where I applied concealer. So the other areas, you can see the amount of shine I am having on the rest of my face is comparable to the amount of shine I have when I set my foundation with powder. Most of the claims we read earlier about the foundation are spot on. It gives a natural matte finish. It also looks like skin. It didn't appear cakey. Like I said, I was conflicted between the shades for my category, the shades 30, 31, 32, 29. So I decided to go with 29 because it's described as a neutral shade. Now when I applied it, it looked okay on me, but I don't think it's going to be a good match for me in the summertime because I'm going to get darker. So it looks like it was just a tad bit light for me. It matched the rest of my body rather than my face. So if you're my shade twin, depends on your preference. If you want to buy two shades, one for summer, one for winter, that's up to you. If you want to buy only one, I think 30 would work as a summer shade. I think I'm going to test it out, but from what I saw online, I think it's going to be a summer shade for me. This one works now because I still have my winter color. Like I said, it reminds me of the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. If I'm going to do it side by side, it is going to be with that foundation because it reminds me a lot, the way it sits on the skin, the finish of the foundation. It reminds me a lot about that one, even though that one is just a little bit matte, more matte than this one. It reminds me of that one. It's a very portable product because you can just toss it in your bag and just go. It's not heavy at all. This is plastic. This is a plastic bottle. I didn't tell you guys that earlier, so it's easy to carry. And the no mess dropper is very brilliant. The bottle is not even messy, just the inside. As you can see, normally with the pump, most times the foundation gets on the pump, but this hasn't gotten on the tip or the area around the tip here since I applied it. You want a foundation that would last longer on your skin. Maybe you have a long day, you don't want to reapply or touch up anything. I think this is one of those foundations you should have in your bag. And if you want a foundation that looks flawless, has a natural matte finish, it's not gripping, it's not uncomfortable, it's breathable, it's very wearable as well, this is the foundation for you, so I highly recommend it. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply some powder. So this is how my face looks after applying powder around my T-zone, and it looks almost as good as new. This is where I end my video for today. If this is your first time on my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for coming back. Don't forget to like and leave a comment. Until my next video, have a blessed night and stay safe.